All right, we're heading down the home stretch now, folks. Kids in football, in that order. Great teacher, mentor, student of the game, selfless, a difference maker, servant leader. These are the complimentary comments given by players, students, teachers, and fellow coaches regarding Coach Steve Purichia. Learning his skills from the west side of Indianapolis in those memorable Purichia Family Street games, Steve was a shining star as the head coach of Chittard, Perry Meridian, and later as a lead assistant at Ben Davis. Of course, coaching has been a passion of the Purichia family and synonymous with Indiana high school football. During the early 1980s, when the Colts were struggling under Coach Frank Cush, Steve's sister told all who would listen that the Colts needed the Purichia brothers, Carol, Joe, and Steve, if they wanted to win. Well, Steve's part of that coaching trio was a sparkling 83-19 record at Chittard that included 5 city championships and 3 playoff appearances. Looking for another challenge, Steve took up the task of rebuilding the program at Perry Meridian, all the while carving out a 32-13 record and being part of the famous Cluster Buster. His career winning percentage of 118 wins and only 32 losses is one of the state's best. He is second on the all-time list at Chittard. After 16 years as a head coach, Steve accepted the opportunity to coach with his mentor, friend, and former Chittard coach, Dick Bellahan at Ben Davis High School. And while at Ben Davis, the Giants won 7 state championships and 1 national mythical title. His passion for the game continues even today as he assists at Westfield High School and has posted a most thorough teaching manual on defensive line play. Coach Steve Purichia continues with the most positive influence on the lives of so many, and his sister was correct. Hire Steve if you want to win. Ladies and gentlemen, 2014 Indiana Football Hall of Fame inductee, Coach Steve Purichia.
Thank you very much. I guess you have to coach about 40 years, and then you get into the Hall of Fame by default. But it's truly an honor. I was told when giving a speech a long time ago that you need to stand tall so the audience can see you. Speak loudly so they can hear you, and keep it short so they'll appreciate you. And tonight I'm going to keep it as short as possible. I know everybody's getting tired. I'd like to thank John Dury, a former player of mine at Chittard High School, for spearheading my nomination to the Hall of Fame. I know it takes lots of time. I've done this before and lots of work, and I appreciate your effort. Also thank the selection committee and the Hall of Fame for this wonderful ceremony tonight. Also would like to congratulate the inductees on this special night, and it's especially neat for me because I've known many of these inductees for years and years. I was a patient of Dr. Brady's about 100 years ago. I was a teammate of Larry Highball's at Washington. I coached against a couple of these players who are inducted tonight, and I've coached against a few of the guys who are coaches on the other sideline. So it's truly an honor to be with these guys. I'd like to thank my former players for making tonight possible. Coaches organize and strategize, but we don't play. Players make the plays, and my former players at Chittard, Perry Meridian, Ben Davis made some big plays over the years, and I thank them for that. And I can still remember lots of those big plays, just like it was yesterday. One guy that came in and that really surprised me, played on the 78 team, flew in from Oklahoma, and he said I wouldn't miss it, coach, for the world. So I appreciate that. I've been lucky in my career to have either played for, coached for, or coached with many exceptional coaches. And I want you to listen to some of these names. Many of them were Hall of Famers in football. Chuck Schwannekamp at Chittard and Plainfield. Some of them were Hall of Fame coaches on my staff or coached with me who were Hall of Famers in other sports. Phil Strader, Perry Meridian, wrestling Hall of Fame coach. Mike Davidson, Ben Davis, Hall of Fame track coach. When I was in high school, I played for Hall of Fame coach Bob Springer. He was very instrumental in starting the Hall of Fame also years ago. He was a great coach, great person, and one of the major reasons that I decided to go into coaching and teaching. After I got out of college, my first coaching job was at Bishop Chittard. I was an assistant football coach and wrestling coach to Dick Dellahan, Hall of Fame coach. I was also an assistant baseball coach to Dave Alexander, Hall of Fame baseball coach, who later went on and was the head coach at Purdue for 14 years. I'll never forget when I got the Chittard job, I was so excited. I probably would have coached for nothing and taught for nothing. Matter of fact, when I got my first check, I thought I was coaching. My check was so small, my paperboy used to cash it. But I didn't care. I loved it. And I was living at home. Mom and Pop said, "You don't have to give us any money." I said, "Good, because I don't have any." And but I was so busy coaching 3 sports, I didn't have time to spend it anyway. At this time, I want to thank some very special people to me. Number one, Dick Dellahan. He hired me twice at Chittard and Ben Davis, and it truly was an honor to coach with Dick. To me, his name is synonymous with Indiana high school football. He's given a bunch to the game of football and still gives to the game with his camps, and he's very, very much involved in the youth football programs throughout the state. And I saw one of my former principals, Dr. Mifflin, former principal of Ben Davis High School back there, who was also, I think, the principal for Ray Walls. Thank him for allowing Dick to hire me at Ben Davis and all the good things that he did for me at Ben Davis, and they were considerable, believe me. Also like to thank Steve Noon, who was my first, offered me my first, he was former principal at Chittard, and offered me my first head coaching experience. There was a lot of pressure on him because, believe it or not, there's a lot of pressure, at least in Catholic high school football today, believe me. The problem was, Dick had just left and went to Carmel, and Dick succeeded my brother Carroll at Chittard. So I was following 2 guys who really started the winning tradition at Chittard High School. I had a grand total of 3 years experience under Dick, and 1 year as a graduate assistant at the University of Cincinnati. Not much to take on that job. But I appreciate him going out on a limb and giving me the job. I remember coming home and telling my mom and pop, I said, I'm not sure I can measure up to Dick at Carroll. And they said, "You'll be fine. Just do your very best and always do the right thing." That's something they told each of the 9 children. Pretty good advice, I think. I'd like to thank Jake Gilbert. I volunteer up at Westfield High School. And Jake's an old Ben Davis guy. Matter of fact, I coached him at his position. He's really a good young coach and got Westfield all the way to the state tournament today, or this year in 5A. And he can coach anywhere, believe me. I'd like to thank him for making me feel like I still have something to contribute. I just kind of go up there and stand around and run around a little bit, pick up a bag now and then, and think I'm still coaching. One special person, my brother Carroll, I want to thank him. He's been my best mentor over the years. He was an outstanding high school player, high school coach, and went on to be a very good high school coach. I mean, I said that, I think. But he was a good player and coach at high school level and college level. And he always had a lot of advice for me. Matter of fact, those of you who know Carroll know that he likes to give advice all the time. And you know, Carroll, that he would agree with my description of him being a great coach and a great player. I'd like to thank my wife Sylvia and my daughter Susan for being supportive. They want me to go back and volunteer another year somewhere, probably Westfield. And they said make it even 40 years. I think they want me out of the house. But anyway, they enjoyed going to the games on Friday night. They And I'd like to give Sylvia an extra shout out because, and all of you know how much time it takes, but at times she had to be mom and dad to Susan when she was a pup. And when I wasn't able to be there, it's because of coaching, and I appreciate that. And I'd like to thank all my relatives and friends here, and for being here tonight. It means a lot to me. And I saw a lot of my former players from Chittard, and that really means a lot. In conclusion, I know I've failed to mention the names of some very important and influential people that I've worked with over the years. I was told that I have 10 minutes, or they're going to put the hook out. Otherwise, I would be here for hours thanking all the people who impacted my life. Just know that if I did not specifically mention you by name, your help over the years has been priceless, and I am forever grateful. I love the players who played for me, the coaches I coached with, and as Coach D always says, I love football. Thanks and good night.
Our charging running back, gifted quarterback,